Saints training camp, day 3 takeaways. We are here. Deuce Mcallister, Mike Haas with WWL. Carl Granderson is the only sure thing in the Saints defensive end group is the title of this video. Sounds like some moving pieces on the defensive line. Let's go ahead and let the fellas from WWL take it away, shall we?
Everybody, Mike Haas along with Deuce Mcallister. After day 3 of training camp here in Irvine, California, we talked about the offensive line yesterday, flipping into the trenches with defensive line today. And we'll start with Peyton Turner. 2021 first-round pick, and you look at last year, awesome game 1, awesome game 18, and in between, injuries, and that's been his bugaboo, but not during camp. He's always been solid during camp, but now, as Dennis Allen said, it's time for him to prove it.
So there's a lot of players that kind of fit this bill, not just with the Saints, but with the NFL in general, where they come in, they're a high draft pick, they have a lot of promise, they show sparks of potential, but they can't put it together for a full season, or they can't put it together for any consistent period of time, whether it's because of injuries or just lack of play or whatever. I mean, you know the players, right? So, but you always hold on to that burst. You always hold on to that spike of potential, and you think, man, if they could just put it together, this guy could be something. The Saints have a lot of those players. Kendre Miller, Peyton Turner, obviously, I mean, you could almost say the entire defensive line, the entire offensive line to an extent. The Saints have that, right? The Saints have a lot of players like that. And I think going into this season, it's important for the Saints to let the talent win. I don't care where someone got drafted. I don't care where their primary position is. I don't care how old they are. I don't care any of that stuff. All I care about is who can actually play for the entire season, who can actually deliver and have the impact that we need for the entire season. If it's a 37-year-old journeyman free agent left tackle that ends up playing right tackle and he ends up being a consistent, impactful player, I don't care that we're not playing Trevor Penning, a former first-round pick. If Cam Jordan is outplaying Peyton Turner, play Cam Jordan. It's not Madden. It's not fantasy football. Like, we don't have to sort by age. We don't have to sort by potential rating. We need just to play the players who can play. And with the Saints being such a fringe team, and a lot of positions being up for grabs. I mean, there are very few positions. Think about the Saints. There are, how many positions would you say are totally set? Quarterback, I would say, is totally set. Safety with Tyrann Mathieu is set. Marshawn Lattimore's spot is set. But even that, it's like Marshawn gets injured. Marshawn was on the trade block for the entire offseason, seemingly. So Kool-Aid's there. So even someone like Marshawn Lattimore, it's not set in stone. Like Alvin Kamara, yeah, he is our starting running back, but he didn't play the full season last year. Chris Olave is our one wide receiver, but would it shock anybody if Rashid Shaheed was the more impactful receiver this year? It's crazy, right? The Saints are a very fluid team. They're everywhere. So I hope Dennis Allen and this new coaching staff on the offensive side of the ball are saying, you know what? Let's have a true training camp. Let's have a true camp and say everyone's up for a position battle. Whoever wins, wins. And ladies and gentlemen, I just got out of the gym. I walked to my apartment in the middle of a thunderstorm. My hair is soaking wet. So it's driving me crazy right now, ladies and gentlemen. So bad hair day. Happens to the best of us. Happens to everybody. It's happening to the boy right now. I did get a haircut, though, a couple days ago. So I'll make sure in the comments below, compliment the haircut.
Knock on some wood there. Yep. I mean, and so the talent is there. That's not a question. The question for him is, can he stay healthy? And so you saw him today flash, probably had about 3 tackle for losses, caused a fumble by Spencer. I mean, I think that was maybe Isaiah Foskey that got the pressure, and Spencer just kind of, as he was climbing the pocket, dropped it. But Peyton, figure out how to stay healthy. I mean, because he could be in that rotation as far as defensive line and, be able to make plays. That's what it's about.
So when Dennis talks about the defensive end room and Cam with the age and Foskey with the youth and Chase Young with the injury and then, with Peyton, but the one guy he never really talks about is Carl Granderson.
Yeah, he's as consistent gets, and he is a locked in player. He's one of those guys like Derek Carr where, yeah, he is going to be there, right? So barring injury or something, but and just like Mike said, like I keep talking about injury. a lot of the players, like the Saints, have a lot of consistent yet old, and then they have talented yet inconsistent with a lot of positions. So again, we need to err towards the side of who can actually be the most impactful.
Dennis today said he was a guy who came in, he was 230. Now he's 280-ish from Wyoming, and so he didn't know whether the ball was pumped or stuffed, but he has earned the right to kind of be the guy they count on that you don't mention anymore. That's pretty impressive.
Oh, he's consistent. That's why. And I mean, he shows up. He's ready to go to work. He can play left end, right defensive end, and for him, he knows he's probably going to be the guy that's going to get the double team. And so that's a big task. But for him, he wants to go out there and he wants to play the run. He wants to be able to get 10 plus sacks a year and just be consistent. Be able to come out here and work. And you don't have to be a guy that goes and yells and be that guy. You just want my guys to follow my lead, and you've got Cam leadership, which is always going to help, so that takes a lot of the pressure off. But just go out there and do your job. And so he's been very, very good at doing it, and you don't have to mention him because the tape speaks.
Yeah.
And finally, I know every day looks the same as we're standing out here, kind of feels the same, but there's a pretty good wind quartered against us.
Nothing says training camp like the bucket hat. I mean, the bucket hat Deuce is wearing, that is training camp as training camp gets right there. It's getting me fired up.
And it was a big special teams day, and it was kind of fun to watch with Groupie and, to try to get your head around the kickoffs. But today was a very heavy special teams day.
Yeah, heavy special teams, and I mean, I think
Saints got to be better on special teams. I mean, they were bad last year on special teams. Punting, field goal, the whole thing wasn't great. We got to be better. Good teams are good on special teams, bottom line. So we need more. We need more consistency. We need more from our special teams, and hopefully we get that this season.
That you'll see that, going forward just as they get closer because of the new kickoff rules and how you have to prepare for it. It can't be a surprise for a guy that, hey, this is how it's going to look. This is what it's going to be. And so as they put this team together, maybe a guy that normally would not have made it, he's going to make it just because of the rules and how it's different. And so
100%.
Big kicking day, not only from a punting standpoint, obviously field goal and the kickoff. I thought Groupie Blake handled it really, really well as far as the kicks were concerned. And so that's something that you have to be encouraged with because, the pressure for him, I've got to know he's good 40 in. I mean, 40 in regardless of the
maybe even more. I mean, maybe more like 45 in. Like, you really don't, in today's NFL, you don't want to be sweating 45 and in. Like, I understand, kickers miss kicks. I'm not saying you got to be perfect, but if it's a 47-yard field goal, 44-yard field goal, I shouldn't be on the edge of my couch wondering, like, man, are we about to duck hook this thing into the 14th row? Like, if it's 55 plus, whatever's going to happen is going to happen. But we need way better from. Guys, field goals are not new. 50 and in, you should be hitting that, especially in a dome. 50 and in, it should be pretty consistent in the NFL. There's 32 kickers. God, soccer is big enough has been big enough in America for long enough. Can we get some people who can kick 50-yard field goals and shorter on a consistent basis?
Whatever it may be in a dome, doesn't matter. You've got to be money. And, anything probably 45 plus out, hey, you be 60%. Be 60% in that. But, 40 to 45 in the end, you've got to be 85, 90, not really 90, probably 90% or better.
I lied. One more. And the other one is Lou Hedley, because we saw what we saw last year.
Not good.
The ability to be able to kick and flip the field. We're seeing a different Lou Hedley, an offseason of that. We knew that in mini camps and OTAs. But today was another one of those days where, man, when he hits them like that, he can flip the field.
Yeah.
Horrible last year. Horrible punting last year. A lot of low-driven, rugby-looking kicks that ended up going 35 yards.
You can flip it, and I think, you're not relying up on the rugby kick. And, for him,
there you go.
It's probably all up in.
See, exactly. Where it's like last year, it's like too much rugby kick. Cool. Well, let's get back to bombing it, flipping the field.
The drop as far as the punting is concerned. And so he's got to be a weapon for this team. It can't be a guy that, hey, look, we don't know if it's going to be, plus 30. We're only going to net 30 yards. If it's something like that, you better be pinning him inside the 10. And so he's been very, very good, and that's something that he's going to have to continue to do.
Saints will practice tomorrow, Saturday, have their first day off of training camp on Sunday, and then full pads on Monday with Deuce Mcallister, Mike Hoss, Jeff Nowak, and Bobby Abra will be joining us as well in a little bit of time as Bobby works his way out to California. But get all your coverage right here on WWLAMFM.com, always free on the Odyssey app.
Yeah, I mean, good for the, hey, look, the New Orleans media, you got to give them credit. All these guys who are going out there, it ain't easy, all right? It ain't easy to go to California, sit at training camp day in, day out, watch these practices out in the heat. Like Mike says, you're watching the same thing every day. You're watching practice. You're watching, but it is important. It's important to see that, especially with a team like the Saints, where you're seeing a lot of stuff for the first time. You're seeing this offense for the first time. You're seeing how the coaches interact with the players for the first time. And like I said at the start of the video, really the key to this video is the position battle idea. The Saints are a team on the razor's edge. They could be 7-10. They could be 10-7. It's going to come down to who wins those position battles. Chase Young, Cam Jordan, Demario Davis. Demario didn't have a position battle, but players like that, we need them to take a huge step. We need them to play at a very high level. And for Demario, we need him to just play at the level he played last year. But these guys, the Trevor Pennings and the Peyton Turners and Isaiah Foskey's and you can name whoever, the Foster Moreaus and I'm done with letting players get by on potential, letting players get by on draft position, letting players get by on name value. It's too tight. I mean, last year showed that. Last year we're a shoulder injury away, we're a drop pass away, we're a missed field goal away, any of those things away from winning the division and winning 10 games. So for a team that's kind of in this interesting kind of era where we're transitioning, but we still have the same core players, I hope we go into this with a completely clear mind, completely clear eyes, and say, you know what? The best guys are going to play. The best guys are going to play. If that's Cedric Wilson over A.T. Brown, fine. Or A.T. Perry, A.T. Brown. I don't know who A.T. Brown is. Over A.T. Perry, fine. Cedric Wilson, free agent, picked him up, whatever. A.T. Perry, draft pick. If Wilson's better, Wilson's better. Play him. If Dalen Hooker, if Hooker's better than Foster Moreau, play him. If he's better than Juwan Johnson, play him. There's too much of blank player. I'll use Foster Moreau for an example. There's way too much of I think we should give Foster Moreau a chance. He's got a good rapport with Derek Carr. He's hit. When he gets a chance, he can kind of show the if, ands, buts, all that. Over with. There's too many excuses getting thrown around. Too many players. We've heard it all for 2 years with Penning, right? I'm not saying that they're excuses, but with him, but we've heard maybe if he switches the other side, it's a fresh start. He's been doing this. He's been doing that. If random backup journeyman free agent is better, play him. I would love to see Kendre Miller develop. I would love to see Kendre Miller develop into a star. Bottom line is he got hurt last year. He's hurt right now. He had 170 yards last year. That's it. That's all I know. So if Jamal Williams is better right now, play Jamal Williams over Kendre Miller. That's it. If Jamal Williams is better than Alvin Kamara, play him over Kamara. That's where we are. And it's up to, I hope this coaching staff is fearless, and I think they will be. I think that's another trait of kind of a younger coaching staff, is that they're willing to just lean on the data. They're willing to lean on the tape. They're willing to lean on what they're seeing and just go with those players and not rely on, in the past, a lot of decisions were made because of draft value, because of contract value, because of name recognition, and certain players, my fantasy baseball alerts are going off, ladies and gentlemen, can't be good. My team's awful. My fantasy baseball team, Ozzie Albies, boom, he's out for the year. Kota Senga, he's out for the year now. It's a complete disaster zone. So, it can't be a good notification. Probably someone else is on the IL. But, back then, it was all just, like I said, draft, contract, name. Newer coaches are more likely to just look at the data, look at the algorithm, look at the analytics, look at who's doing what better, and say, we're playing this person. We're playing this player. I don't care if he's making $500,000 a season compared to $15 million. I don't care if he's a 5th-round draft pick over a 1st-round draft pick. We're playing him because he's better. He's got the better EPA. He's got the better whatever stat they're using. So I'm excited. Training camp's here. We're going to get a lot of content coming out, ladies and gentlemen, so make sure you are tuned in every single day on this channel. I know you are. My God, where else would you be? Thank you very much for watching. I will see you in the next video.